Let me ask you something. Ever feel like the world is just a little less colorful than it used to be? You know, like you're scrolling and scrolling, but you never actually feel satisfied? Well, today, we're diving deep into something called the dopamine trap. We're going to talk about why your phone might be making real life feel, well, kind of boring, and more importantly, how you can fix it.
All right, to really get this, we've got to go back in time, way back to a pretty shocking, kind of disturbing experiment from the 1950s. It's about a rat, a little box, and a lever. And what happened in that box, believe it or not, explains almost everything about that device sitting in your pocket right now. So here's what the scientists did. They put an electrode right into the pleasure center of a rat's brain. And every time the rat pressed a lever, zap, it got a direct jolt of pure pleasure. The results? They were absolutely horrifying. The rat just stopped being a rat. It stopped eating. It stopped sleeping. It even ignored its own babies. All it did was press that lever over and over. We're talking thousands of times an hour until it literally died from exhaustion.
Now just let that sink in for a second. That lever, that obsession, it's not in a lab anymore. It's in your pocket.
And listen, this isn't just some clever metaphor. It's a direct comparison. We've kind of become the rats in the box. The physical lever, that's the infinite scroll on your phone. And that direct jolt to the brain, that's the little red notification badge telling you someone liked your photo. The point is, we're not just being distracted by our phones, we are being biologically hijacked.
So, let's talk about what this hijacking actually feels like. This next part is all about that numbness, that feeling that the world has somehow lost its edge, that everything's a little bit boring. It's not in your head, I promise. It's in your brain chemistry.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You sit down, you're excited to watch a movie, and maybe 5-10 minutes in, your hand is already twitching, reaching for your phone. Or maybe just going for a walk outside feels, I don't know, slow, boring. Why is that?
Well, there's actually a clinical term for this. It's called anhedonia. It means the inability to feel pleasure from things that you'd normally enjoy. But here is the most important thing I want you to take away from this slide. This is not a personality flaw. It is not a moral failing. It is a biological state. It's not your fault.
So here's how it works in 3 simple steps. First, your brain gets flooded, absolutely flooded with these cheap, easy hits of dopamine from social media, notifications, junk food, you name it. It's way too much, and your brain kind of panics. So to protect itself, it starts to shut down its own dopamine receptors. It's just like when you listen to music that's way too loud. After a while, your ears just go numb to protect themselves. Well, your brain's pleasure centers have gone numb, and now you need more and more and more stimulation just to feel normal, which leaves you feeling kind of empty most of the time.
Now, here's the thing. This whole process, it's not an accident at all. In fact, it's a feature. It's by design. And that brings us to the villain of our story, the frictionless enemy. The apps on your phone are literally engineered to hook you just like this.
And they do it with some really clever tricks, like autoplay. You don't even have to decide to watch the next video. It just happens. Or the infinite scroll. There's no bottom of the page, no natural place to stop and think, maybe I should do something else. They have removed every single piece of friction that might give you a chance to escape. And why? Why are they doing this? Well, it all comes down to a business model. They are literally selling your attention, your dopamine, to advertisers. And the price you pay, the real cost, is your ambition. I mean, think about it. Why would your brain push you to do something hard, like learn a new skill or get in shape, when it can get a perfectly satisfying hit of feel-good chemicals from a 15-second video?
Okay, that was the bad news. I know, it's a little bleak, but here's the really, really good news. You could fix this. You absolutely can. Your brain can heal. So let's get into the solution. It's a 3-step protocol for a full dopamine reset. The entire reason this is possible is because of a beautiful scientific concept called neuroplasticity. All it means is that your brain isn't a fixed, static thing. It's like clay. It's constantly changing and rewiring itself based on what you do. So yeah, it got wired into this mess, but that also means you can wire it back out. So here it is, your escape plan. 3 really powerful, science-backed steps you can take to wake those dopamine receptors back up and make them sensitive to the simple joys of real life again. We're going to make your phone less rewarding, your habits less automatic, and your mind way more resilient. All right, step 1 is the grayscale protocol. This is so easy. Go into your phone's accessibility settings right now and turn the screen to black and white. See, all those bright colors, especially that screaming red notification badge, they're powerful reward signals for your brain. When you take the color away, you instantly break that feedback loop. Your phone stops being an exciting toy and turns back into what it's supposed to be, a tool.
Protocol number 2. Reintroduce physical friction. We're going to do the exact opposite of what those app designers want. A super simple one is to stop sleeping with your phone. Go buy a $10 alarm clock and charge your phone in the kitchen overnight. That tiny bit of extra effort, having to physically get out of bed to scroll through Instagram, is often all it takes to shatter that mindless automatic habit.
And that brings us to step 3. This one's the hardest, not gonna lie, but it is by far the most important. You have to learn to embrace boredom. That antsy, restless, I need to do something feeling, that's not a bug. It's a feature. It's a signal from your brain screaming at you that it's ready to think, to create, to engage with the real world again. So the next time you have a quiet moment and you feel that intense urge to grab your phone, just don't. Sit with that uncomfortable feeling for a minute. Let it burn. Because that feeling, that's the feeling of your dopamine receptors healing. That's your brain coming back to life.
So let's wrap this all up. Look, this is not about hating technology or throwing your phone into a river. It's about taking back control. It's about reclaiming your own hardware, your brain, and remembering that the real, physical world is infinitely more interesting and rewarding than anything you can find on a screen.
I'll leave you with one final question to just chew on. By staring at this hyper-vibrant, super colorful screen all day long, is it possible you've accidentally turned your actual life black and white?
The solution really is simple. Not always easy, but simple. Put the phone down. Let your brain reset. Go outside and go see for yourself just how incredibly vivid and full of color the real world actually is.